When I was in the military, I went to this school. It was all about projects. They give you a wheelbarrow with 5 people, but the wheelbarrow had no wheel. They give you big ass cinder blocks, 2x4s. And you had to get all that shit from point A to point B at one carry. They want you to get creative. When I was born with all kind of heart issues, lung issues, bone issues. So I had to get creative. I didn't have a lot to work with. A lot of you use that as a fucking excuse. You don't have a lot to work with. So you want to die all preserved. Make sure you die being used up. Find out what you have and get maximum potential out of that motherfucker. Stay hard. We are leaving a lot on the table. My book is called Can't Hurt Me. Why is it called Can't Hurt Me? Life isn't fair. We have to understand that. It shouldn't be fair. It's a trial ground. It's a testing ground. It's built to make us harder. It's built to make us as strong as we can, to test us, to drive us. So, mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. I was an underdog. We are all underdogs in life. Even the baddest person in the world should think that way. So you should always have I've never arrived mentality. And the can't hurt me mentality is no matter where you come from, the sewer or wherever you think you're from. When I got out of the sewer, I got to the road and looked around and said, can't hurt me. Nothing should be able to hurt you. If you believe that, it starts to become true. The biggest misunderstanding about David Goggins of all time. It's like, whether you believe in God or not, I do. He put this lab rat, which is me, on this planet and said, let me fucking see what a beat up, abused kid who can barely learn, who has a twisted body, messed up genetics, sickle cell, this and that. Let me give him everything that pretty much disqualifies you from the military. But back then, it wasn't estrus. And let's put him in this and see what comes out of it. So to do that, friction. You don't wake up in the morning time and go to the coffee maker. Matter of fact, sometimes you don't even sleep. That's why when I train a fighter or I train someone, I'm like, you have no fucking idea how great you really are. Because you are using such minimal of what you have. Through my journey, I figured out the one piece I was missing. I thought it was cars. I thought it was women. I thought it was money. I thought it was everything. The one piece I was missing was me having the courage to face myself. And once you do that on a daily basis, it's not about the running. People's going to be talking about working out. Where I got my work ethic from was the hours I had to spend learning this. When you sit down and you're not smart, and you have a disability, and you still want to be at the top of your class, I didn't want to just get by. When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school, but I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy that valedictorian studied for an hour, and you know I caught you, and I am dumb. But I have the work ethic to catch you. When Apollo Creed beat the fucking shit out of Rocky, beat the shit out of him, he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter, couldn't read, that was me. Couldn't read, couldn't write, just punchy, everything about him. And Apollo beat the shit out of him. He was in that corner, everybody was saying, stay the fuck down. And him getting up, Apollo Creed raised his arms up in the fucking air, turned around, thought he won the fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up, and it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. The face of Apollo Creed. It was like, just by that motherfucker getting up, not winning, just by him getting the fuck up, Apollo Creed was champ. He's the best. Rocky had taken his soul, had literally taken his soul. His head goes down. He looks at him like, what the fuck are you? I wanted to be that, not Rocky. I wanted to be the guy that people looked at. I don't care if you like me or didn't like, I don't care. But it said, this motherfucker is going to keep coming after whatever the fuck is in front of him. I wanted that. I wanted that worse than anything in the world. Like people want to do a documentary on me. I go, no. I don't want you to do a documentary on me. because I will have normal, everyday people picking me apart. Oh, his life is miserable. Who wants to live like that? It's crazy how it's almost like he's sick, he's psychotic. I have to own this. No one's gonna come back to save me. No one's gonna come back on this couch and say, hey, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna be okay. I had to realize I had to take a stand. I had to make a real stand. And it was painful to look at who I was, what the world and myself created. It created a very lonely, depressed, insecure man that would do anything just to have a friend. I wasn't that smart, so I hid there. I hid because I was the only black person. I hid because I wanted to be I was constantly hiding from these groups of people because I wanted to be accepted. And the more I hid, the more David Goggins became nothing. There was no David Goggins. I was you when I was around you. I was Mary around Mary. I was John around John. There was no David Goggins. This is when I realized I was alone on this earth. Yeah. I have God, but alone on this earth, and I have to fix everything. So what changed my whole mindset, really? I was thinking, like, why the hell did God put me here? What am I doing here? If you have that mentality, you could be nothing. You have to believe that you are here for a reason. That there's some reason, me getting beat up, me getting tortured, me being bullied, me being born with no foundation, me having to figure all this shit out on my own, figuring out this indestructible mental toolbox, had to be for a reason. And my reason, I believe now, I know for a fact, was to unlock the code to human potential. And for me to share that with people. I no longer wanted to be a victim in my mind. I wanted to dominate where most people would refuse to dominate. I wanted to dominate under the most harsh environment. I had to stop thinking normal. I can no longer be a common man walking around doing common things. I said, I'm gonna die trying. I don't give a what it does to me. I don't give a if I break myself off. I don't care if I lose legs. I don't care if I have stress. I don't care what it is. I don't care how much pain I go through. I don't care, but this reflection in the mirror will change, or I will die trying. I will die. I will not look at this guy in the mirror anymore, because I can lie to you right now. I go back to that mirror every night, and I usually shave my head almost every damn night, and I gotta sit there for 15 minutes and look at myself in the mirror. And that reflection is telling me everything I'm not. And it starts to, some of us are allowed to go away from that. I was haunted. Every day, 24 hours a day, this voice would be in my head. Hey, mother, you ain't shit. This is what you're gonna be the rest of your life, man. To the point I said, you know what? I'm gonna break myself off, man, trying to fix this person. And I made the decision to go all the way in. And a lot of us have this mindset of balanced. But if you wanna be part of that 1%, I'm sorry to say, you gotta throw that balance shit in the wind. The only way you can do it is if you go all the way in. So the thing about it is, the unbalanced mind allows you to do everything at a level that most can't even fathom. They look at you, they see you grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. And while they are at this mediocre level, you slowly rise and rise and rise. I became very unbalanced for a long time. For me to get to where I wanted to go, where I had to go, there could be no balance. There could be no, 8 hours a day, I do this. It had to be, I'm such in a up spot in my life, I'm such in a dark place, that if I don't dedicate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year to becoming a better human being, it's not gonna happen. The balance is important, but you have to first go to war with yourself. You gotta figure out what you're about and be proud of who you are before you start to get that teeter-totter nice and balanced out. Once you change one thing, your mindset, you can attack everything. I started realizing if I can flip these insecurities upside down, if I can flip this fear, if I can flip all this shit that made me this depressed, insecure guy, if I can flip it and make it work for me versus against me, I started seeing the power in failure, the power in insecurity, the power in self-doubt. Because I looked at everybody. It may not be true, but that's how I looked at everybody, as being way above me. I thought to myself, if I can be at the lowest part in the world, in the sewer, and be able to overcome all this shit, I started using that as power. And I slowly started passing the guys from Harvard, the guys from MIT, the guys who were from great families and shit. I'm like, oh my God, I'm catching up. I had nothing. So I started flipping it and using it as power. A lot of us run away from our fears.
Sure.
And we box ourselves in to a lifestyle of this is all we can do. Because I'm afraid of everything outside this box.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable inside this box. I was afraid of the work because I wasn't gifted with brains. I wasn't gifted with God-given talent as far as like athleticism. So I knew to get to where I had to go, to be in the same playing field as these men, to even try out for this program, I knew the work was going to be something that I didn't want to even attack. I jumped the box.
Oh, you did, yeah.
For the first time in my life, mentally, I jumped the box and said, hey, I got to come out here and play. You got to start diving into those things that you are afraid of. You don't gain confidence by going to the spot that makes you feel good. It's going to be a false reality. And the second life gives you that challenge, all you want to do is go back to what made you confidence or what gave you confidence. Is that happy spot? No. If you can get through these different barriers and gain 5%, 2%, 3%, that 40% becomes 60. That 60% becomes 70 and 80 and 90. And then you'll hopefully one day near 100. I've given everything. People make, oh, you ran on up knees, you taped your feet up, you did blah, blah. You had 2 heart surgeries, you kept on going. Yep, sure did. I had somewhere to go. I had somewhere to go and I got there. And buddy, when mother tell you, you can take a break now? Hey, you're up? As long as my knees are halfway worked, I got to run. You telling me, man, maybe a chance I can't run no more? Give me an excuse to not do shit, but as long as I have no excuse, I gotta do it. On the other end of suffering is a life that many people don't know even exists. It's a beautiful world, because like the 40% rule, we all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box, on the other edge of suffering, which is on the other edge of that 40%, is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box it's comfortable. That's where all of our nice stuff, that's where the nice 4-lane highway's at. I know where the restrooms are at. I know where the gas stations are at. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown. And that's why I started realizing, man, like on the other end of this is some beautiful stuff. So I got outside my box and realized, man, 300 pounds, now look at me, I'm 185 pounds. And on the other side of the box was all this stuff. And I didn't know it was over there until I climbed the wall. Once you break these barriers that you have made for yourself, like the mind is the most powerful thing in the world. It is so amazing that I used to be a 300-pound guy and I thought that was it. Could barely read, could do anything. And now, what was inside that person was this guy that's in front of you today. That's how scary the mind is. And that's what I started realizing through this journey, is that once I got a taste of, wow, man, I haven't even begun to crack what the mind is capable of. And I started realizing is on the other end of suffering, that's the real growth of life, because you realize how the mind processes shit. And I talk about another thing called theory and practice. A lot of people are theorists. These smart guys that read these books and shit, man, and they sit down, they tell you what the mind is supposed to do. And a lot of us listen to that shit. It becomes like, this is it, man. This old man who has been studying the mind forever, this is the cap that we have. By being a practitioner, I went out and realized a lot of these guys are so wrong, man. The mind has capabilities that are so unknown, and I found that through suffering. I put my mind in hell, and I realized how it was thinking, and I figured out tools and tactics on how to get through it by being in it, not by studying it, by being in it. And literally, that's how I started callousing over. You know how, so I did 67,000 pull-ups in 9 months, and it calloused my hands. It calloused my hands real good to protect my hands against the bar. I started learning how to callous my mind to callous over my victim's mentality. You have to struggle. You have to struggle. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the peace. The bigger the suffering, the more peace. There's no other way to make it out here. I mean, you can't just always be, head down in the sand. You got to learn to pick yourself up on your own. A lot of times these fights and these battles, you got to be your own coach. You got to be your own motivator. The most frustrating thing in the world for me is when normal people judge a man like myself on what it really takes to extract greatness from nothing. It takes every bit of who you are if you choose that route. If you don't, Merry Christmas, do what you got to do. There was no talent. It was just try again, try again, try again. And that sucks, man. It builds an anger. It builds a fucking anger, man, when you see people just floating through life. But like, you're going back to Michael Jordan. We're both born February 17th. Jim Brown, great running back, February 17th. I was like, oh my God. And as I started getting older, I realized, man, I can't even dunk a fucking basketball. Man, I can't fucking run, man. My legs are all fucked up. I can't run a football. I'm not these guys. So that's when I started gravitating towards like the Crawfords, the people like that are in the book, just the normal everyday Joes. But they're not normal everyday Joes. What these guys had was courage, character, commitment, discipline. These are things that every human being can work on their own. You don't need talent. You need discipline. But the biggest key to success in anything you do is you got to have an unlimited supply of fucking fuck you. This drive and passion. And it may come from nothing. Like for me, there was no passion, no drive, no nothing. But I had this fire that I'm going to be somebody. And it has to be there because on all those bad days and all those days you don't want to do shit, you have to be your own motivator, your own coach, your own trainer, your own everything.
If you pan it down here, you see it's about 3 o'clock in the morning and there's not a car or a person in sight. If you pan over here, it's the same thing. Not a car or a person in sight. People want to know where I find my strength at, where I get my strength. I get it from a lot of places, but right now, this morning, I'm getting it from, there's not a motherfucker that's up. There's not a car, there's not a person. Everybody's in their bed, sleep, dreading that it's a Monday, hate it's a Monday. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that. Where everybody's getting weaker, I'm getting stronger. It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the fuck after it every daggone day. Stay hard.
Call it maximizing minimal potential.
Yeah.
I was born with nothing, but I realized that most people are lazy. So a lot of people, let's say out of 10%, let's say the average human being has 10%. Let's give me 2%. I know the average human being is gonna shit away 9 of that 10%. So if I utilize my 2%, I just fucked you up.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what people don't get. Maximize minimal potential. People look at me and say, man, that's bullshit. You got a lot of potential. No, I have a lot of accomplishments that I utilize my maximum potential. I maximize every bit I have to be where I'm at today. That's why I'm not balanced. I don't take days off. I don't have that wiggle room that some people do. And a lot of you don't either. So you gotta make that shit up somewhere. Maximize minimum potential. Perform without purpose. Because I go through, when I write these books, I try to dumb down David Goggins. How can I give normal people, and I'm normal, but I found something that most don't want to find. How can I speak to people and give them something from this crazy psychotic brain that I've developed? How can I give them that? So I sit down with Jennifer for years and write down perform without purpose. Callous your mind, armor your mind, the cookie jar, the accountability mirror, shit that people can fucking use in their lives. You have to come into work, and work is, whatever your work may be, ready to go. And what that means is you may have failed miserably yesterday, but you come to work like, people are like, man, you just lost everything. How the hell are you just fucking damn motivated? Because this is what it takes. This is what the fuck it takes. And you got to get it from wherever you can. Whether you make up this illusion of your life or this false reality that gets you motivated, whatever gets you motivated, it's got to be here at the tip of your brain at all times. Because in those dark moments, you got to pull it out. I kept picturing me falling down and getting up, and I was dumb. Even myself, I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. And that going the distance pushed me to a point of where now I go way past the distance. But the biggest one is we are all great. No matter if you think you're dumb, no matter if you think you're fat, no matter if you are fat, no matter if you've been bullied, or no matter if you just got back from Iraq or Afghanistan and you have no legs or your arms or whatever, man, we all have greatness. It just, you got to find the courage. You got to find the courage to put your Bose headphones on and silence the noise out of this world and to find it. And to find it because it's out there, but it's going to take hard work, courage, self-discipline. It's going to take all the non-cognitive skills. All the non-cognitive skills to be great. You know, smart is good, all this stuff is good. That's all cognitive. It's the non-cognitive skills that set you apart from everybody else. And that's what it's all about. The barbaric life that I live, that you have to live, the almost obsession that you must have to be great, you can't put that shit in a fucking book, bro. You can't put it in a book. You can't. You can't write about it.
It has to be experienced.
It has to be experienced. And you can't even, after you experience it, to write it in the book, it would seem like he needs to be locked up.
Too gory.
It's too gory. It doesn't make sense for a guy that every second of the day, he is trying to extract more from something. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, the amount of mental pain, of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. There's going to be more times you do something that you don't want to do than you are going to want to do it. And that's your new norm. That's your new norm. So then it's like breathing. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to. So if you really want it, you realize what trying is and what trying is not. There's a quote that was said, out of the 100 men that go into war, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 of them are just targets. 9 do most of the fighting. 1 is a warrior. And it's a true quote to life. I saw it going through training. I saw it everywhere I went. There's so many people who just show up to life that shouldn't even be around. And there's few people who do all the work. I wanted to be part of that 9, and I'm working towards being that 1. And that's just how I live my life. That's why there's a lot of average. And it makes me so mad. Every day I walk this earth and I see average all over the place. And they want to ask me, how did you do it? I can't tell you how, because you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. You're gonna continue being out, because every day you wake up, like he says, not like get the coffee, make the pancakes, kiss the girl, kiss the kids. You wake up, right to work. Immediately your mind is in action. No one wants to do that. No one. And I don't blame them. But don't be mad when you're laying there in your bed and you're in the hospital and you're 70, 80, 90 years old and you're thinking, man, I feel like I didn't do something. Because you did. You didn't do it. You may live the great life, man, but you're always gonna feel empty inside. There's so much in you that God or wherever the hell you believe in you that you have not unlocked. God, I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, because it's about 75% of you is still in there.
Tonight,
still chained up because you just didn't want to find your willpower. Didn't want to find your soul, your will, your heart, your determination, your guts, your courage. And what that looks like, it looks scary. Scary to wake up every day and say, I'm stupid, but I want to figure out a way to be smarter. Versus saying, man, I just can't do that. So you limit this box. So your box becomes so small of things you can do. And then through examining myself, getting some willpower, some courage, it became bigger than this table. How bad do you want this? If it's as bad as you want to live or breathe or sleep, whatever the hell it may be, I can work with you. Most people don't want it that badly, which is why they always ask the question, man, how did you get to where you are? You know how to do it. You know exactly how to be you or how to be me. You don't want to do it. So I can't make you do it, nor do I have the time or energy to force you into that place that I know you have to be to do it. There's no luck in this game, man. It may be a little bit of luck, but the luck happens after you bust your ass and you put yourself in that lucky situation. Luck doesn't happen. You put yourself in that situation where luck might happen. And that's what people don't know. But to get there, luck ain't gonna happen. You have to put yourself in that situation, man. It takes a lot of work.
Well, it's that time of year again. We start to feel real happy. Why? Because we're not going to work. In that good time of year, we start to feel real good about ourselves. So I start to feel great. So we start making promises to ourselves about, hey, I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna do better in school. I'm gonna be better here, be better there. But guess what happens? The real Merry Christmas happens when all of that noise is gone. It's quiet.
There's some stat out there about January 1. All that kindling that you started, all that motivation usually burn out by about 10 to 12 days later. So let's see how far you can take that shit.
And it's you against you. And now all those endorphins are gone. And I promise you made by getting up early and getting after it to go lose weight, study harder, guess what? It's a lot harder now. That repetition becomes a lot harder now.
I want a workout program. I no longer give them anymore because you can waste my fucking time. Because I know most people out there, once that fucking one alarm clock goes off at the wrong time of the day, I'm not going to the gym.
So a lot of us can't do things on our own. So find somebody in your life. So when you throw that towel in, they throw that motherfucker back at you and say you're not done yet. Stay true to yourself. Stay hard.
We do that everything in life. When New Year's coming up, guess what? Don't have a quitting mind. Repetition every day. Stay hard.
You start to create a whole bunch of people that aren't even yourself. You never figure out who you are. You never live up to your dreams, your ambition. You live up to what whoever is around you that you like so much that you want to emulate and be like so much. You live their dreams. You lose your power. That was the biggest thing. I had to stop caring what people thought about me. I realized that everybody's up. That's the one thing I realized. I walked around and I put these people on a pedestal. Everybody was better than me. So I can't tell you anything about me because you're going to judge me and I'm going to feel even worse than what I am. What I realized, once I calmed my mind down and sat back and looked at how jacked up this world is, once you realize that you are not alone, everybody that's talking to you about how jacked up you are, only thing they've done better than you is they've hidden their f***ed up world better than you have.
This is the time right now for you to stop avoiding things. Get that pen and paper out. Look inside yourself. Stop looking at me or other people out here to be the hero of your story. This is time for you right now in all that solitude to get to know who you are as a person. Be alone with yourself. Write that down. Start to face these different things in life. Knowing one thing in life, we are all very fragile in this world. We have to know that when we die with some meaning and some purpose in this world. Stay hard.
But we all have these abilities, not just to run and do pull-ups, but these abilities that once we go back into our dark holes, that a lot of us have. A lot of us come from, insecurities, a lot of issues, but we don't want to visit that place. Place is scary. Place is something that we want to forget about. I had the courage, finally, to go back in there and organize it. Get it organized in my mind and figure out, where to start from. So, but the journey led me to the so-called superhuman stuff that I do now.
Yeah. So when you said you had the courage finally, what does finally mean?
I was haunted. So we all have these voices in our head. We like to not listen to them. The one that comforts us and keeps us nice and warm and cuddly and gives us cookies and milk at nighttime. We like that voice. That voice, the one we want to always hear, which is why people don't like to listen to me a lot. Some people do, some people don't. The only thing that changes you is being real. So basically, I had to have the courage to go back in it because nothing was getting done. I kept on going to that nice cuddly voice in my head saying, you know what? You don't need to do this. That's too much work, man. You've earned this. You deserve this. And that mentality got me to 297 pounds, fat, out of shape. To me, a loser. To me, making $1,000 a month and making a ton of mistakes. Because mistakes happen on the easy side of life. You take the easy road, the easy path, there's a lot of mistakes over there. The hard journey, you don't make too many mistakes over here because it's too hard. You don't want to repeat it. So it's challenging.
And would you say you've built this almost like sadistic quality where you almost enjoy the pain?
I don't enjoy it. It's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary. So every morning I wake up, it's not just about working out, but for me, working out has been a very big part of my mental growth. So for me, if I am not challenging myself every day, and I swear to God, people will not believe it. I was over almost 300 pounds twice in my life. A person that does that twice in his life does not enjoy cardiovascular activity, okay?
Yeah.
So people can put anything they want to in their head. I did realize one thing. The things I don't enjoy that I still do, that's where growth is at. And that's, for me, the only place growth is at is in that very uncomfortable, in that uncomfortable zone.
Yeah.
So I have to visit it every single day. So
and when you say visit it every day, what sort of things are you doing daily to push yourself?
So for instance, today I woke up and I just got to London and I don't know where to run here. It's very difficult to run around this place. So someone said, hey, you can run around out here, like around this 1 mile block. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that. So I went down to the gym and there's this teach myself victory first. I taught myself failure. I taught myself how to fail. And people are like, that's so depressing. Is it? When you're 300 pounds and you can't read and write and you're up, you know how many times you're gonna fail on that process? So if you don't know how to fail, there is no victory. I never talked about winning because I knew the path to winning was gonna be years of failing first. So I taught myself how to fail properly. No one teaches you how to fail. But if you're going out for insurmountable odds that make absolutely no sense, a black kid that can't swim, 300 pounds gonna be a Navy SEAL. Okay. You better teach yourself how to fail first. Because if you sit in failure for too long, you will never come out of it. Every morning I woke up, I wanted to quit. During runs, I quit. During my diet, I quit. During swims, I quit. I quit every single day. In the first several months was nothing but failure. So how am I gonna get up the next morning when I failed the day before? You are gonna have to learn how to get up extremely fast because you are gonna have a million setbacks on this journey. When I fail, I can't spend much time in that fail zone. I have to be able to get up and get after the next day just as fast because my goals were to be a Navy SEAL. I don't have time to stay here and feel bad for myself for weeks and months and years because I'll lose that time. So the big thing is know that if you have big goals and big dreams, along the way failure is going to happen. So how fast do you get up from that? You gotta teach yourself that. I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fucking fail, I'm gonna fucking fail, I'm gonna fucking fail, and I will succeed. Once the mind knows you're not gonna quit something, it's gonna try to find more. It's gonna try to give you more. Once it realizes you're not gonna take the path of least resistance, you're gonna stay here until it's done. My mind and my body and my spirit became one for the first time ever. For the first time ever, it became one. And I went to a level that I never thought was humanly possible for myself or anybody else. The brain is the most powerful thing. The mind is the most powerful thing that we have. It's not your phone, it's not the computer, it's not anything, it's your mind. And if you can tap into that, you can come from the daggone roots of hell and become such a great seed, a powerful seed that can grow into some great daggone garden. And people don't get that. It's all up here. The power and the magic's up here. When you quit, your mind says we're done. So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. When you say F you, this sucks, I'm drowning, I'm miserable, I'm suffering, I'm broken, but I'm not going anywhere. What happens to your mind is it does this. It says, he's not leaving. So we gotta expand. We gotta grow. We gotta figure this thing out. If you keep on attacking something, nothing wants to stand in front of anything that is relentless. Nothing. But the biggest key to success in anything you do is you gotta have an unlimited supply of you. This drive and passion, and it may come from nothing. Like for me, there was no passion, no drive, no nothing. There's no passion, there's no motivation, there's no, oh my God, man, no. It's every day of your life just doing. But I had this fire that I'm gonna be somebody. And it has to be there because on all those bad days and all those days you don't want to do shit, you have to be your own motivator, your own coach, your own trainer, your own everything. So to do that, you have to come into work, and work is whatever your work may be, ready to go. And what that means is you may have failed miserably yesterday, but you come to work like, people are like, man, you just lost everything. How the hell are you just damn motivated? Because this is what it takes. This is what the it takes. And you gotta get it from wherever you can. Whether you make up this illusion of your life or this false reality that gets you motivated, whatever gets you motivated, it's gotta be here at the tip of your brain at all times. Because in those dark moments, you gotta pull it out. So that's the big thing for me, man. I was always fired up at all times. Life's about self-discipline. It is about self-discipline. We tend to do the things that are easy. And that is it builds no mental toughness, it builds no mental hardening, it builds nothing. When you working out is where you can build that the fastest. Because it's a constant, it gives you instant feedback. Yeah, you may not lose the weight you want to real fast, but the discipline it takes, it transfers over to all aspects of your life. You can achieve a lot of shit if you get off your ass and you start moving and you start motivating yourself. Start becoming a self-motivator. You wake up, right to work. What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up, brutal work ethic. I don't take any days off.
No days.
No days.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world. I'm not good enough, smart enough. I'm not talented enough. If you lack talent, you can't sit back and say, I'll start in half an hour. I can't do that. I gotta start now. And after I get back from starting, I gotta start again. And then when I get done with that run or that study session, if it wasn't good enough, I gotta go back again. Because repetition is what taught me everything. So you can honestly outwork anything. What really does it for me is I know what we're capable of. And I know that most human beings aren't willing to go where I am. And that's a very, very dangerous thing. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. Everybody has this talent. Sure. It's not a talent. It's just realizing that we stop way short of our true potential. So through my life, I realized these things. I was that guy who grinded. I grinded hard. I mean, I grinded hard. I was that guy who was up, like if we went on an op or we had a workup, let's say we had a workup, we were in Island, we're out there shooting guns and doing land warfare. And we did it till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Most everybody would go to sleep. I didn't go to sleep. I went to the gym and I worked out. Or I'd go sleep, and let's say we'd be up at 5 o'clock. I was up at 4 o'clock and got my hour in. I made sure to always do that. You live uncomfortable to gain growth. You have to have friction in your life to gain growth. Obstacles is how you grow. You must continue to have friction. Friction is where growth is at. With no friction, there's no growth. Through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do. And that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. No, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing if that's my mentality, this shit ain't hard anymore. How many times I haven't been able to run? 2 heart surgeries, multiple knee surgeries, and after every knee surgery, they say you're not gonna run again. And I'm fine with that. There's no running up here, bro. None. This was what it was all about. That's what they lost. What if you can't run? Give up. It was never about running. Why do you think I run? It's the worst thing. I hate doing it more than anything. Think about it. Every day I wake up, I don't just run a mile, 2 miles. It's the one thing I hate the most to do, and I do it like I love it. 250, 60, 70, 300-mile runs at one time, no sleep. And every step, when I get to the, think about this, I get to the start line. Why the am I here? I hate this shit. After 70-some hours of running, every question I ever had is answered. I became obsessed. With being the baddest mother that God ever created. Am I that? I don't care. I believe it. Once you become obsessed with something, it's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you gotta be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do, it's not about being a Navy SEAL, people. The best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great. You have to be open-minded to the possibilities that I can do this. Once you shut your mind down to the possibility that it can be achieved, there's no way it can happen. So that's why my eyes and my body light up about things, because I know that if you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. You must build belief. You must build confidence. When you start to create belief, and belief isn't like an after-school special. Most people think, oh man, like your mom and dad, you need to believe in yourself. Sesame Street, when I was growing up and shit, you need to believe in yourself. That's not the belief I'm talking about. It's the belief that you harness through hard work and dedication. And it's something that you know what you are capable of because you've gone there several times in those dark times. So my belief, why I kept on going back to Navy SEAL training and going back to all these different things, not because I hoped training would get easier. It's because I believed I could make it. Through the training I put myself through, I just wasn't doing and executing as I should. And I knew that. It was all on me. So then when I put that belief into work and that hard work came to fruition, everything happened for me. My journey has pushed me so far, so lonely in my head, and a lot of lonely, it's called the unseen work. No one knows what David Goggins really does. You see a 1-minute snippet, you read a little book. The shit I do on a daily basis gives me that very confidence. Like I said up here, I know I've built belief that I may have failed, but building that belief I know I just didn't figure it out yet. Not that I can't do it, I just didn't figure it out yet. And that's what all that is. And I've also built up an insanely high pain tolerance by having that dog. I'm not trust me, man, I was born some sickly little abused kid, afraid of everything. But I built up that dog. And once you build that dog in you, man, the pain and the suffering and the lonely nights and the unbalanced, if you put the right people in that foxhole with you, you are dangerous, mother. If you walk into any kind of event, whether it be physical or mental, if you walk in with already putting that block on your mind of, man, this ain't gonna happen. People go, how did you run 135 miles to Death Valley? How did you run 100 miles with no training? Because I went into it not thinking, I can't do this, man. I went into it with a strategy. I had an open-mindedness. So until your mind is open to the possibilities that I can do this, you will never be able to do it. Once the mind starts to believe it can be achieved, only then does it start to break down tactically how we can do this. Until then, you're gonna always lose. And anybody, not just Navy SEALs, but anybody that can accomplish anything that is hard, the only separator is that they really want to be there. There's some people that get inspired, and that inspiration moves them to try to do something. But the inspiration is very high right now in this nice environment. We're in a nice environment, the ocean's out there. I'm talking to you. If I want to go to the refrigerator and get something to drink, eat, I can. I watch a movie about some badasses, you're inspired. But the second you're not in this environment and you're actually doing what inspired you, that suck factor is now real. You can't just get off your couch and get a shake or get a box of donuts or turn the TV or go take a shit or a piss or go get your girlfriend and cuddle up. No, you're now there. And only those people who have been there 1,000,000 times in their minds and have lived in that water and have suffered 1,000,000 times and realize my legs may break, my knee may break, my bones will hurt, I will be the coldest I've been in my life, I will be miserable, and accept that. Because what happens is when you get in a horrible situation in life, your mind, I call it my 1-second decision. When you get in a horrible situation in life, your mind immediately says, get the out of here. Everybody's does, even if you want to be there. But it starts to have all these different questions in your mind in that 1 second. And it says, okay, why are you here? Why are you doing this? Why this? Why that? And then you start to say to yourself, if you don't want to be there that bad, I have a beautiful wife at home, man. Why the am I doing this, man? Like, this is stupid. This is gonna get these guys injured. Like they're gonna pay for this for the rest of their lives. I'm not gonna break my body up to do this. Your mind starts to say, yeah, this is stupid. But if you are already knowing that this is gonna happen to you, you have all the answers to these questions that your mind starts to give you when you're in suffer mode. You have to be there but not there at the graduation.
Okay.
You gotta be there in the worst
in the
parts
suffering
that you know over and over again. You gotta live that in your mind. Like me, I sat down at the table and I said to myself, what are you willing to give up? Everything. And when people come to me with that kind of mindset, I can work with you. When you are willing to strip yourself down to nothing and give everything, that's who I want to work with. Because now I can mold you into exactly who you want to be. When you put these restrictions up, and that's why my first question is, how bad do you want this? If it's as bad as you want to live or breathe or sleep, whatever the hell it may be, I can work with you. So how I do every day is how I do every day. It's a discipline, it's a regimen, it was a choice I made. And the choice I made was, what are you willing to sacrifice and what are you willing to give up to find every bit of who you are as a human being? And I was willing to give everything to do that. Weak people hear this soft kid, oh my God, he must be miserable. Oh my God, what the hell's wrong with him? You're missing the story. You're not listening to the story, man. Look what I overcame. If that doesn't put some badge of honor tattooed in your brain for the rest of your life that you can die today talking to Joe Rogan? You're missing the story, man. Am I happy? What the do you think? Don't misunderstand the passion in which I speak for not being intensely happy. Happiest person in the world. But I'm not done. So I'm not gonna speak to you like, oh man, everything is great. No, I have a lot more shit to do. A lot more shit to do. I honestly want to be considered one of the hardest men to walk the planet Earth in the history of the world. And what I mean by hard, I'm not talking about the guy who does the most pull-ups, the most sit-ups, runs the most. Just a person who's able to overcome any adversity in front of him, to figure out a way. Hardness isn't about all this physical shit, man. Yeah, it helped me get to where I'm at. But all I was doing in the whole process, the process wasn't to be ripped. It wasn't to walk around with my shirt off. That wasn't it. I knew through the physical challenges, through the physical suffering, my mind was getting stronger. I was literally doing that for a reason. I had a weak mind. All the rest just happened to come with it. I was trying to strengthen the mind to handle all the judgment that's passed on me, perceived and not. Sometimes you make it up in your own head. You know, I just want to be able to handle all of that, everything, physical, mental. I want to be perceived as that, like an old school barbarian, an old school guy that's like, God, dog, man, nothing can hurt the guy, which is why the book is titled, Can't Hurt Me. I want people to have that mantra in their life. Take that with you. Take it everywhere you go in life. And if you believe that and you work towards that, callous in your mind, strengthen yourself, can't hurt me is strong. In any situation, like when I was in Buzz, they beat the shit out of you. I'd be the first one to get up and say, can't hurt me, motherfucker. And they were beating the hell out of me. But you say that enough to you. False motivation becomes real motivation after a while.
Let me see what you're gonna do to create change. Let me see how well you're gonna be in life, how much better you're gonna be, and pass it on.
No one's gonna come back and say, hey man, I apologize. Maybe someone does. Very few people will. So at the end of the day, when all things are said and done with, while my dad was the devil, and I believed that for a long time, I had to confront him. And when I confronted the devil, so what I thought was the devil, I realized that I was the true devil. I was the one holding me back. I was the one looking for the scapegoat. And I was the one looking for... He's constantly thinking, he's constantly disciplined, never going off the path. Whatever is injured on him, he figures a way. It's a conqueror's mindset. And very few people, if any, can really understand what that is. Like, I'm almost 50, and I've been this way for almost 30 years. Like, what do you do for fun? You would never, like these questions, I don't get them. I don't understand them. So yeah. That's where David Goggins got really invented.
Yeah.
Was at a kitchen table with 20 spiral notebooks that were empty. And then 3 months later, they were full. And when you can go through that, I still have them in my storage unit. You go through these spiral notebooks of your life, and you realize, this is how I learned. This is unbelievable. There's no miles. It's not about the miles. It's that. Having a discipline every day to say, for me to learn this one math problem, it's gonna take me 10 hours. And that's where and you realize through hard work, you can outwork anybody, no matter how badass they are. But that's the part people don't want to dive into.
Yeah.
So I started gravitating more towards the everyday person that went way beyond. They went to that blue to black line I talk about in the book. That blue to black line where you reach greatness. And I started realizing that's what I can do. I can outwork a motherfucker. I can outwork everybody. That's what it takes. I can't dunk. But over here, everything that I want is over here in this fucking pile of shit. Hard work, dedication, sacrifice. I can do that. I can do that all fucking day long. I can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can outwork you. That's where I found greatness over there. All these ways to say, it's okay, David. You're a loser. You're a born loser, so it's okay. And I was hoping my dad was going to give me that confirmation.
And he was a loser himself, but at the end of the day, when I left there, I realized, well, shit, man, it's all me. My dad's up, my mom's up, the people around me are up. They're not gonna save you. You gotta save yourself, my friend. Make up your own mission statement. What do you want to be in life? And once you do that, now you can work with somebody to get better. You can work with yourself to get better. But until you know what you want to stand for, you will always just be sitting down. You'll never stand for anything.
I'm getting it from, there's not a motherfucker that's up. There's not a car, there's not a person. Everybody's in their bed, sleep, dreading that it's a Monday, hate it's a Monday. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that. Where everybody's getting weaker, I'm getting stronger. It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the fuck after it every daggone day. Stay hard.
Every morning, every day of our lives, we have choices to make. You have the choice to stay in bed, to say, forget it, I'm not gonna work out today, or forget it, I'm not gonna work hard today. You always have a choice every single day of your life. So yesterday, I made the choice to get up early and run, but today's another day that I'm faced with another choice to make. So I'm making the choice again to put my shoes on early in the morning and get after it again. So make the right decision. I want you to realize that this world, life, is one big head game. And once you learn to play the motherfucking head game, it's no longer a game anymore at all. You can start living your life. I've saw myself as the weakest human being on the planet. And I wanted to transform that into the hardest man God ever created. Who's gonna carry the boats? When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace because you know exactly who you are. When you quit, your mind says, we're done. So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, fuck you, I run this motherfucker. You gotta tell your brain where you wanna go and how you wanna go and how you wanna get there. Stay fucking hard. That warrior mentality that I'm so proud of, I wasn't born with it.
I was not always this strong guy you see. I went through a lot of hard times in my life to get here today.
What changed me was I had to be hard on myself. And I had to continue to grind myself into a fine dust. The only way I could find myself was through putting myself through the worst thing possible. I was a scared, uneducated kid who stuttered, and I had to look at myself in the mirror and hold myself accountable for who I wasn't and who I wanted to be. Nothing was coming back to save me, so I realized I had to save myself. You gain knowledge through suffering, and on the other end of suffering is a world that very few have ever seen. It's a beautiful world, because that's where you find yourself. You gotta go into that hellhole of life that you have that fucked you up and fix it. And that's what I'm here to do. It's a hard journey. It's a real journey. It's a journey that's gonna take you way outside of being comfortable. We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment.
You gotta do your best work when you're least motivated. So those days you don't wanna do it, guess what you gotta do? You gotta suck it the fuck up and do it.
You have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're gonna be dealing with in life. Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. You have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. The mind has the tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, you, I run this motherfucker. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, I'm not saying physical, I'm not saying you got to break yourself off. The amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. There's going to be more times you do something that you don't want to do than you are going to want to do it. That's your new norm. That's your new norm. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to. The only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. We have the ability to go in such a space. If you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer, your brain and your body, once connected together, can do anything. I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them to belief. Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. You gain knowledge through suffering. And on the other end of suffering is a world that very few have ever seen. It's a beautiful world because that's where you find yourself. Every day you have to do this shit. Because why? When you stop doing it, you don't just maintain it. If you stop shooting a gun, you're not going to be a great shot if you pick a gun up a year from now. If you want to be great, you want to be the baddest motherfucker ever at what you do, you're going to be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes. It takes every second of your life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of people. It is. But if you want to go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you do, you have arrived. When you are misunderstood to the point where people think you're psycho and you're nuts and you're this and that, why are you in the gym at 1 o'clock in the morning? You will never understand what is wrong with me. And that's why I'm so glad you don't, because I'm in the right spot. When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive where people are like, what the f is wrong with this guy? I don't want to talk to you, man, because you're not going to get it. I can't get this paragraph. I can't remember what the f is in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read it again. Still not getting it. Read it again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. I can't swim. I'm negative buoyant. Go back again. I can't swim. Go back again. Go back again. Go back again. I got it. I realize if I keep going back and going back and going back until the shit just becomes, your mind will say, okay, we're going to figure it out, because he is not going to stop. It's not like I'm going to try one more time. No, it's just like alarm clock goes off, boop, we're going back. I can't read right, we're going back. I gave myself no way out, and my mind realized that. They said, okay, we're going to adapt and overcome now. A lot of us want to find peace first. So people say, man, you always talk about this suffering and pain and shit. I'm at peace right now because I went through that, right? You don't find peace first. If you do, Merry Christmas, more power to you. I found peace on the opposite end of finding myself. And no one really finds himself without going through trials, tribulations, suffering, accountability. And accountability is suffering. Being accountable every day for doing right for yourself, for the people next to you, it's miserable. One thing we don't do is we don't have a new norm. My new norm is you get up every morning at 4 o'clock and you suffer. This is your new norm. That became my new life. Most people want to get out of it. I said, no, motherfucker, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing if that's my mentality, this shit ain't hard anymore. Not getting civilized is about having a savage mentality. It's a comfortable world. A lot of us say, like for instance, I see these athletes right now who retire, I'm 38, I'm 39, I did 20 years at the top of my game, and I'm chilling out now. You see them a year later and how they look.
what the hell just happened to you? What the hell? You're one of the greatest athletes of all time. Kids looked up to you. Women, men of all ages looked up to you. And they hit the pinnacle where it's time to retire, and their mind says, whew, I'm civilized. The worst thing that could ever happen to any human being is they become civilized. It's that total accountability. Like, even when you retire, there's a mother looking at me and judging me right now, man. I was the baddest person to ever live. It doesn't go away, man. You gotta wake up. Even though you retired, you never retired. You're setting the example every single day of your life. And being civilized feels so good. But I'm sorry, man. Once you get to the top, you may retire, but you ain't never coming back home, man, because now you're judged. People see you falling off. You want to be that guy who knows I may be retired from
crazy elliptical trainer, but it's not a normal elliptical trainer. It's one that you like almost self-power. It's very...
Yeah, it's not electric.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So I got on that thing and I realized, man, this... and after like 2 minutes, I'm like, I don't want to do this. So, right then I realized, it looks like we're gonna be here for a while. So I did that for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not saying do that, but that's something I did today. Once my mind said, you know what, let's not do this today. I said, well, since my mind went there, I redirected it and said, just for having that weak thought, we're gonna be on here for a while.
Right. So it does sort of sound like you're punishing part of your mind in a way.
Punishment, maybe not be the right word.
Yeah.
I want my mind to know who's in charge. So for the better part of 26 years, my mind was in charge of me.
Yeah.
Which is why I made all these horrible decisions. Once you take control of your mind, you start making decisions for yourself versus your mind. That's all they've done. So once I realized that, if you want to sit back, like for instance, there's all these things that are on TV, and we have all these news people judging people who f***ed up in life. Yeah, they made big mistakes. But that person who is judging you on TV, I guarantee you that news person, they say, I'm glad that my didn't come out, but I'm going to judge the hell out of you. I know that about people. So if you want to sit back and judge how jacked up I was and how messed up my life was, Merry Christmas, go for it. Have a good time. But I'm smiling at you right now, knowing you have a secret that you're not willing to share. It gives you a lot of power when you're able to go on podcasts this big and say, hey, tell me, I'll tell you anything you want to know. I no longer care. And that is a lot of power in that. To be able to put your life on a billboard for the whole world to see and say, judge it, man. Judge it. You gotta start planning. People love the planning phase because it's very comfortable. Then from the planning phase, you gotta go to execution. So the execution phase will be all hate, because that's where the real work begins, and that's when the failure happens, and the failure. So, but you know, that's kind of how you have to do it.
When you're running, you run for hours. What days?
Yeah, no, son. Hard work looks horrible. It's not motivating. It's not motivating at all. It ain't like Rocky round 14 where he gets knocked down and goes like this to Apollo Creed. It looks like a man being stuck in a dungeon and there's no way out. But you have the key, but you refuse to use it. And that's nothing motivating about that. See, there's all kind of months. Some folks got sober October. They got all kinds of for people go through trying to better themselves. I got you every day. Get after it every day mentality. That said, when you push that hard, you go to the well. Well, my well was empty. The cookie jar in there had stale moldy cookies. They weren't working no more. Had to find something else. Had to get that conqueror's mindset back. Where I just don't give a about anything. Just grind. A lot of people out there talk about they're missing something in their lives. And they don't know what the it is. You don't know what it is because you live in a soft environment 24/7. Learn to get out of it. Stay hard. Do it. And do it. And do it. And do it. That's the hack. The hack is gonna fucking suck. Life is the most brutal endurance sport of all time. And that's what we have to love about it. We have to flip it on its head and love the fact that life continues to attack us. There are no fucking timeouts. You can't just go like in a sporting event when the coach doesn't like something, call timeout. You have to figure it out on the fly. You have to be that person who's always prepared. But the solitude right now that a lot of us are dealing with is what we don't want to deal with. It's the fact that we have to think about all these things that we don't like about ourselves. We like to use life as a big escape. That escape is not there anymore. All these distractions that we use, they're no longer there.
Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that shit we have nowadays, that's great. We're up to date. But your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, you're going through death, real life shit. You can't Google that shit, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain. And your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways. And it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over.
You pan it down here, you see it's about 3 o'clock in the morning and there's not a car or a person in sight. If you pan over here, it's the same thing. Not a car or a person in sight. People want to know where I find my strength at, where I get my strength. I get it from a lot of places, but right now, this morning, I'm getting it from, there's not a that's up. There's not a car, there's not a person. Everybody's in their bed, sleep, dreading that it's a Monday, hate it's a Monday. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that. Where everybody's getting weaker, I'm getting stronger. It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the after it every daggone day. Stay hard.
It's funny, man. People want to know how I'm always motivated. It's the unseen work. What you just said is a true statement. Those are false dopamine hits that people are giving you, man. There's no belief in that. These are teamwork dopamine. Like, I'm out running at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, in the gym, long sessions by myself. That's real. How I'm able to just extract dopamine, the good dopamine whenever I want. Man, I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone. And while I'm still hard on myself, I know what I did. So whenever times get bad for people, all this, who's gonna carry the boats and love? That's real. I hate that people know me for that guy, because that guy is not every day. Like, when they see me, they want that energy. That's not me every day. I can extract it immediately when I need to, because when you train alone, and I lived alone for so many years in this misery, and you're able to get out of it by yourself, I can take myself to such a level of real passion and purpose. And like, the feeling I get is something I can't even explain by myself. I don't need anyone. That's why people come to me to motivate them. No one can motivate me. And that's the one thing I'll say right now to people listening to this. A real person, a real alpha, a real go-getter, they ain't saying shit about nobody. Right. That's why you will never, ever hear me dropping somebody's name, running my mouth about somebody. I don't know what you went through. I don't know what you're going through. I didn't wear the shoes you wore when you were a kid. I didn't grow up in your house. So guess what I do? Shut the up. Because first of all, we're too busy trying to grind and be better. Second of all, unless we know what we know, we shut our fucking mouths. But nowadays, there's not many real men who live by that creed of like, if you're on social media running your mouth and shit, you're just a bitch. Real men ain't doing it. Real men don't care about that gossipy. Get to work, man. That's it. What existed for me was, okay, man, how am I gonna make this work? And all I knew back then was hard work. The only way anything gets accomplished. That's all I heard back in those days. You gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. I'm not getting I can't get this paragraph. I can't remember what the in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read it again. Still not getting it. Read it again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. And guess what happened? I got it. I got it. I can't swim. I'm negative buoyant. Go back again. I can't swim. Go back again.
The sport or wherever I did, but I'll be damned if you ever see me looking like shit, feeling like shit, not arriving. People, I've arrived mentality. You're always setting the example. Civilization feels so good. These comfortable feelings are what people want. They want retirement. They want that. They need that. It's a yearning feeling. I want it too. People love putting a label on me about, my God, man, you're just wired different. Not wired different, dude. I'm thinking right now, after I got past my stuttering thing, now I'm on a roll, I'm good now. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I gotta wake up tomorrow and do the same shit again. I gotta leave this interview and go stretch out for 2.5 hours. I hate that shit. But guess what it does though? I'm constantly callousing over my victim's mentality that I once had growing up. Every day you have to do this shit. The only way to keep from getting rusty is to constantly owe that motherfucking machine. The machine is this. You gotta keep challenging it every day. How do I do it? How am I able to do what I do on a daily basis? You know, how do I fight the demons? Because they hear me speak and I'm very raw and real. How do you fight my insecurities? All these things. And they're there every day. They're there every day. I'm in search for a feeling. I'm not in search for a trophy. I'm not in search for love. I'm not in search for more followers on Instagram or social media. When I started this journey years ago and I realized that I'm going to be somebody and I'm searching for a feeling of true victory for myself and only myself. The second I shut out the whole world and realized that one thing, that I am in this world alone. I'm fighting this race by myself. Yeah, I'm all about people. I'm all about team. I'm all about that shit. But I'm really all about right now and in my life, no one knows the real truth about me, how hard I really go. I don't care if anybody knows. I don't want anybody to know. I'm an introvert. I live an introverted life. And I love that about me. That right there is my fuel. Is I know that there's really no one out there grinding like me. And if they are, so be it. If I know about you, I'll make sure that I up my game. That's what the mentality is all about. My whole thing is a mentality thing. I view myself as the weakest person on the planet Earth. I was just an insecure, scared kid. And the only way I could find myself was through putting myself through the worst thing possible. My goal in life was to, in my mind, believe I'm the hardest man alive. And that's why the whole thing is can't hurt me. That's what it's about. It's about whatever you think you are, you have to make that dream a reality. But that's where the hard part is making that dream reality. That's where the hard work comes. That's where people know, how do you keep grinding every day? You have to make those insecurities, those fears. Like when I was 300 pounds, I didn't have any drive. I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. What kind of stupid shit is that, 300 pounds? There wasn't like a drive to go be a Navy SEAL. I was an insecure, lying kid, afraid. I had to look at my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. You have a whole stack of it all around you. It's your insecurities, all that shit. You gotta dive deep in that shit. It's all in there. All the energy and fuel you need is right in yourself. It's all there. You got a lot of stuff to do to overcome. And you know, that's where I found it. I found it right there in my own insecurities. I found drive in my own insecurities. And that's the most powerful thing in the world. When you can find drive in your own doubt, fear, insecurities, you get to face a lot of young man. You got a long journey ahead of you because you're gonna find out that while your dad did a lot of to you, you're gonna have to make it on your own. Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. The world's tough. The world's tough. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you. So it's time to get back to work. Get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab, because that's where the knowledge came from. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing that can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays in their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. Everything I need is in my mental lab. Everything, because I'm in constant study of myself. And I know what needs to be conquered because I'm constantly going through what I don't like, what I'm not comfortable with. I know, and only I can fix these problems because I have to face these problems.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen, right? So the only thing that you can do is have some chosen suffering to prepare for it.
It's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can practice for the unchosen suffering, is have chosen suffering. Do something that sucks every day. I'm not trying to send a message of run 200 miles, be the baddest motherfucker in the world, but be tough. You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations and get better. And break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life, because it's gonna come. The devastation, the trauma is gonna come, and you can't allow that to become a Jersey barrier. It can't be a Jersey barrier. It has to be something that you can maneuver through very quickly and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness. There's a lot of people, when you die, they figure out why you died. They figure out how you died in the autopsy. But we never do a live autopsy to figure out why we're dying while we are alive. And I was dying. I was living every day, but I was really dead. And so I figured it out. And once I figured it out, I was able to reborn. I was able to be reborn. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life, because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now. You need to be better here, you need to be better here, you need to overcome this, overcome that. And people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K, there's no, I'm gonna get into school to be this or that, and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's gonna come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not gonna be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform, but we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us, because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I fucking need. So the reason I get up every day, even though there's no race or there's no school, there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid who struggled in life. And that kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. Go back again. Go back again. I got it. I realize if I keep going back and going back and going back until the just becomes, your mind will say, okay, we're gonna figure it out.
It'll find a way.
Because he is not going to stop. It's not like, I'm gonna try one more time. No, it's just like, alarm clock goes off, boop, we're going back. I gave myself no way out, and my mind realized that. It's okay, we're gonna adapt and overcome now. If you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness. That's what people don't understand. By me running, I am callous in my mind. I'm not training for a race. I'm training for life. I'm training for the time when I get that 2 o'clock in the morning call that my mom is dead or something happens tragic in life. I don't fall apart. I'm training my mind and my body and my spirit so it's all one, so I can handle what life is gonna throw at me. Because the life I've lived, it throws a whole bunch at you. And if you're not physically and mentally prepared for that, you're just gonna crumble and you're good for nobody. This is greatness, true greatness. Let's say I'm the greatest tennis player of all time. And I did 22 years. I run all the Grand Slams. I beat Roger Federer. I am the best ever. And we're having an interview. And you're talking about my greatness, what I achieved, and I'm retired. And I'm answering your questions. Every question I'm answering, I'm with you. But in the back of my mind, all I'm thinking about is all the times I could have won those matches that I lost by not bringing my best mindset. You're haunted by all the opportunities that you missed by not bringing your best at that time. When you could have won, but you didn't win because you allowed life to interfere with that one shot. When you're sitting there getting ready to serve for the match and your mind is not thinking about where that ball placement needs to be, but thinking about your family this or this at work or that at work. That's greatness. Greatness is your recall on every single shot that you missed throughout a 20-some year career. Every shot, you can go back and say, I was here. This person was in the red shirt there. Greatness is being so aware of the time of life in the second that went by, and you can recall like it was yesterday. Greatness is being able to go back there, not making that same mistake again, and being haunted by it. That is greatness. If you want to be great, you want to be bad ever at what you do, you can be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes.
That's the truth.
It takes every second of your life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of people. It is. But if you want to go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you do, you've arrived. When you are misunderstood to the point where people think you're psycho and you're nuts and you're this and that, why are you in the gym at 1 o'clock in the morning? You just got to doing an op for 13, 14 hours after Ranger School, man, at the gym. What's wrong? You will never understand what is wrong with me. And that's why I'm so glad you don't, because I'm in the right spot. When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive. Maybe you want to be nobody. Maybe you're happy exactly where you are in life, because obviously you are. Maybe you don't have the determination to be somebody better than who you are. And if you want to live with that, I'll support you in that. If you're good with being who you are, that every day you wake up and every day you smell like shit because you can't wash your body well, and your skin's messed up because your health's so bad, and you can't put your clothes on right, you need help with that makes you feel good. See, people are haunted. So I don't say much to them. I say exactly what I said to you, right there. Because I was once you. Their will is so small that they don't have any, and you can't give it to them. There has to be something. This is what I'm talking about now, because this isn't a hack. This has to be in you.
something in you has to wake up. And usually the only person that can wake it up is you. But if you don't have a little flame, just barely, you're done. And that's the harsh reality of this life that I want to get across so bad. You have to examine the insides of yourself. And what do you really want out of life? Your friend and a lot of people out here just don't want it. So guess what? Have fun with your life. Go from 3 to 350 to 400 to 450 to 500 because you don't want it. And that's the harsh reality. If you misunderstand what I'm saying right now today, the problem is you. And you don't want to fix it. There's no hacks, bro. It's you against you. You against you. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I need. So the reason I get up every day, even though there's no race or there's no school, or there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself. There's been this unrelenting voice in my head. We all have this voice. It's the right or wrong voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me to comfort a lot. But I have this other voice I heard my whole life saying, hey, mother, what are you doing? Nah, man, we got to go over here. We got to go over here to that rock pile over in the corner where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over there in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. I wasn't a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the answers are. And I didn't want to listen to it because over there was pain. Over there was me looking in the mirror. Over there was me being accountable for all these things I went through my life. Even though people put them on me, it's now mine to own. And I didn't want to go over there by myself, but I had to. And this voice was guiding me there. It's God, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it was in me. This ain't you, bro. This ain't you. You weren't born like this. This ain't you. The real you, bro. This ain't you, man. But that real me back here every time is saying, that ain't you, bro. That ain't you. And I have to outwork that voice. I believe in a higher power. Don't know the name, don't know where it's coming from, don't know anything like that. But I believe that this power, and visualize me real quick. Let's say it's a man up there or a woman, whatever, and they have a chart. And when you're born, they say David Goggins, born February 17, 1975 at 6 a.m. They write the chart down because they can see everything. They know exactly where you're supposed to be. They know what you're supposed to be. You die, you go to so-called heaven. You arrive at heaven, I'm 300 pounds. I retired as an Ecolab guy, which is okay, just a job, whatever. I go up there and God looks at me and he shows me my chart. And my chart on there says you were supposed to be a Navy SEAL. You're supposed to weigh 185 pounds. You're supposed to be one of the smartest people on the planet, this, all this. You see this. And now you're in heaven, you made it to heaven, but you're like, God, Doug, I was supposed to live that life. I was supposed to live that life. And then you find out that the reason why, because we all think that if we pray on it, if we do this, if we do that, whatever, we don't work, we just, whatever, it's going to magically happen for us. No, I believe that when I'm all said and done with, my whole job is to outwork the chart. Whatever the chart says about me, the all-knowing power up there, I want to get up there and say, him look at me and say, I know everything. I didn't see this. I didn't see this. I want to feel that. I want to get to the other end of this world, and however I'm being judged, whoever's judging me, to look at me and say, I did not. A lot of people in this world who don't want to see you make it because they think you could take a piece of their pie. But I've learned to study people before I react. Because there's no successful person in the world who's in a good headspace that's going to ever attack anyone in that kind of manner. There's always going to be something wrong with them. So you got to always dive a little deeper before you get your feelings hurt. Take time. Take that 1 second to pull back and study them. Because most people who are in good places, they don't care about what you're doing. They don't care about what you're doing. They don't try to destroy you. They actually will try to build you up versus destroy who you are as a person. So that's where I'm at now in life, is most people who do that, they're in a very dark, dark place. As you get bigger, as you get more successful, you open the door for people to critique every fucking thing you do. And most of the people who are critiquing you usually aren't where you are. And all their critiquing comes from people who are really at a low level of life, which is sad. But what we do, people who are on the upper level, hearing the haters at the lower level, like I said, you'll never meet a hater doing better than you. True statement. So I started making these mixtapes with all of these hate messages about people talking shit. And it became such a source of fuel that it was amazing, because I know why you hate me. You hate me because you're probably in the bed right now. You're probably an underachiever. You're probably somebody who doesn't want to do anything with your life. So I make you question everything about yourself. So I'm going to continue making you question yourself by coming out here and being even more successful. So what happens is, there's days where I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to do this today. And I'm like, oh, hang on. So I listen to that while I run. I sometimes play it in the house. It's half comical, it's half inspiring. I'm actually inspired by it. Because I know I'm gonna get hit in the mouth. There's an art to getting hit in the mouth. And that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself belief. You have to give yourself confidence. So it starts with that run. Belief is like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself, and that's all great. But there's also a built belief. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can.
You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt.
Yes, because a lot of people, they say, when you wake up in the morning, pound your chest, look at yourself in the mirror and do all this fucking bullshit. I hope it works. What works for me is that everyday resume. The things I know I've accomplished, the things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. You must build belief. You must build confidence and say, I can knock that shit out. Instead of the path of least resistance, I started choosing the path of most resistance to prepare myself for the journey that was coming my way. And you realize through hard work, you can outwork anybody. No matter how badass they are. It starts with yourself, man. You gotta start diving into those things that you are afraid of. You don't gain confidence by going to the spot that makes you feel good. It's gonna be a false reality. And the second life gives you that challenge, all you want to do is go back to what gave you confidence, is that happy spot. No, what gave me confidence was spending years at a kitchen table trying to learn how to read and write on my own, realizing I can't learn the way you learn. I can't, but I can learn. What gives you confidence, not being afraid, is overcoming the fear. That's what gives me confidence, is facing these things, overcoming them. And maybe not overcoming them every day, But facing them and facing them and facing them. Pretty soon like this, you know what, man, this is where it's at. It's not in that comfort zone. It's in the discomfort zone is where my confidence is getting built. That's where it's getting built. Happiness, peace, enlightenment, it's all up here, man. It's all up here. It's all up here. You just gotta be willing to go and face it. And that's the hard part. The physical standard is not what they need to meet. It's a mental standard you must meet in life. That's how I live my life. I now know that there is no cap on the human mind. There's no cap. We cap it ourselves. When most people quit, I had just started.
Wow.
And when you take that mindset and you're going to flip that around, that's what made me powerful. And my body followed.
And so I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give myself a challenge every single day until the fear goes away.
That's right.
And I feel like that's what more of us should be doing. I'm hearing that that's what how you live your life.
That's all it is, man.
And it helps me feel so much more confident. When you overcome that fear of saying this doesn't have control over me anymore,
that's right.
It's like you can be at such more peace.
A lot of us speak in hollow words. I used to speak in hollow words. I don't do anymore. Everything that comes out of my mouth has substance. It's real. We all have these feelings in our bodies, in our minds, in our souls. I act on mine. A lot of us who are afraid of something, we allow our minds to choose the path of least resistance, so we go a different route. When I'm afraid of something, it's telling me you must do that. Life is one big mind game. And you're playing it with yourself. You cannot lose perspective of where you've come in life. I'm trying to give people a different thought process of life where failure, hell, disappointment, discomfort is a great learning tool. And many people don't understand that, but it's these few moments in life that you have. Like for me, I always talk about it. Rocky 1, round 14. That 1 2-minute and 13-second clip of Rocky getting up when Apollo knocked him down. That one clip, when I was going through a very bad time in my life, I saw what I wanted to be. And it wasn't a guy that won. It wasn't a guy that won everything he did. It was a guy that kept getting up after being knocked down. So I realized if that 2 minutes and 13 seconds changed my life, that's all it was. I saw something that I needed to be in the world I was living in. Maybe my story will give someone the 2 minutes and 13 seconds they need to change their life. Everybody's got a story. We don't share it on social media. We share our nice life on social media. We all have a dungeon. I'm just willing to talk about mine. Mental toughness isn't something that you sample. It's something that you live in every day. Whenever hardness comes, and you don't know what it is, it may be different for you than it is for me, but you go back to your insecurities. And then when you go back to your insecurities, you then look for comfort within those insecurities. And we all look for that cookie that your mom used to give you when you were sad, when you were sick. We look for our wife or our husband. We look for comfort. It's in those moments you must retrain your mind to think differently in hell. The mental standard is you must know how far you've come. I walk in a room now and I know the hours and years and decades I put into David Goggins. That's something, it's not on the wall. It's not a trophy on the wall. It's not a medal on your neck. I don't care how you perceive David Goggins, because through my journey, I figured out the one piece I was missing. I thought it was cars. I thought it was women. I thought it was money. I thought it was everything. The one piece I was missing was me having the courage to face myself. Where I got my work ethic from was the hours I had to spend learning this. When you sit down and you're not smart, and you have a disability, and you still want to be in the top of your class, I didn't want to just get by. When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school, but I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy that valedictorian studied for an hour, and you know I caught you. I have the work ethic to catch you. That's where David Goggins got really invented. Was at a kitchen table with 20 spiral notebooks that were empty, and then they were full. And when you can go through that, I still have them in my storage unit. You go through these spiral notebooks of your life, and you realize this is how I learned. This is unbelievable. It wasn't until I got real sick and my life got real quiet. I went from running 205 miles in 39 hours to I couldn't get out of bed. My life was taken from me. And that's when I realized I hadn't taken time to think about what I'd done in my life. I'd done all these things, but there was no finish line. I finished a race of life, and I wouldn't even receive my medal. I go on. I get in the car and I go. When I started figuring out life, that I was leaving so much in the tank. Once I realized, my God, man, I was this dumb, fat kid being bullied, and now I'm a 180-pound person, lost 106 pounds in less than 3 months. Learn to read, learn to do this, learn to do that. I was like, I need more. I was fueling my mind with everything. And I never took time to say, my God, you came from this hell, and you're here. I had come 8,000 miles from where I started. But if you never know that, you're still in the $7 a month place. So it's that quiet place. It's that place by yourself. It's those hours and years and decades by yourself in the grip of life. When life has you by the throat and choking you out, and you're sitting there calm because you're trying to figure it out. You're not panicking. You're not quitting. You're not throwing in the towel. You're saying there's a way around this. And when you figure it out, when life has you gripped in a vice, and you can figure that out, that's when you overcome. That's when you overcome. The journey getting there was harder than going through it. You know, so that's the whole thing about life, man. It's that journey that makes you who you are. Versus negativity, I use it for motivation. I said to myself, who on this earth would still be going right now? You are. You are. You gotta be the hardest on the planet. Is it true? I don't give a At that time, it got me to the finish line of that race. I believed it. I believe it today. I believed it enough to where my body said, he's not gonna stop. And I took all the negative things. I need to go to the hospital, this and that. And I used it all. Who the hell could even get out of that chair? You did. Who the hell would even think about taping stretch fractures up? You did. All those things I used for motivation. When you quit, your mind does this, because you're out. Once you say, I'm not gonna quit, this is the 40%. When you quit, your mind says, we're done. So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. When you say, this sucks, I'm drowning, I'm miserable, I'm suffering, I'm broken, but I'm not going anywhere. What happens to your mind is it does this. It says, he's not leaving. So we gotta expand. We gotta grow. We gotta figure this thing out. So then these compartments in your brain start to they have to work. They have to work. And then you start to engage parts of your mind that you never engaged before. So that's where the 40% thing comes in. It comes in when you're in suffer mode and you say, I'm not gonna quit. You're forcing your brain now to operate on a level it's not used to, but then it becomes used to it. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that shit we have nowadays, yeah, that's great. We're up to date, but Your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life. You can't Google that, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in a day where you're alone in this brain. And your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways. And it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you're fucked. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. It's over. I became obsessed. With being the baddest that God ever created. Am I that? I don't care. I believe it. And I was trying to tell him, once you become obsessed with something, obsessed, it's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you got to be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do. It's not about being a Navy SEAL, people. The best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great. And then you help other people become better from you being the best in the world. So if your family doesn't understand, why are you so daggone crazy? Because I'm trying to be the best I can to give you the best that I am. And it takes being obsessed to where people think you're crazy.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm going to hold on to it. And that's the thing about that I was telling you, that I always talk about. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of spark, you can burn a whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to learn to be, your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that shit. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated. There's no passion. There's no motivation. There's no, oh my God, man. No. It's every day of your life just doing. No passion. No discipline, no motivation. All these words, I hate that so many people use these words now because it's watered. It's someone sitting in a room by themselves and they figure themselves out and say, God, this is gonna fucking suck. Where's passion when you're 300 pounds? Where's the motivation when you can't read and write? Where is it? So how did this happen? I just did. I said, maybe at the end of this journey, there'll be something there for me. If not, I can read. If not, I'm 185 pounds. There's no magic potion. There's no, let me wake up and look at some shit. No, all those words are overused. They're bullshit. It's all bullshit. Just do. You're living. How do you want to live? How do you want to die? How do you want to be remembered? That's it. That's it. Period. You have to be open-minded to the possibilities that I can do this. Once you shut your mind down to the possibility that it can be achieved, there's no way it can happen. So that's why my eyes and my body light up about things, because I know that if you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. The enemy has to know he is not going to give up. You must break the soul of whatever the fuck is in front of you. That's what I realized. I was never breaking the soul of anything in front of me. So that's why I came up with this thing called Taking Souls in my book. I started to devise ways to break a soul of a human being, of an object, of whatever's in front of me. If you keep on attacking something, nothing wants to stand in front of anything that is relentless. Nothing. Because you did. You didn't do it. You may have lived a great life, man, but you're always going to feel empty inside. There's so much in you that God or wherever the hell you believe in you that you have not unlocked. God, I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, because it's about 75% of you is still in there. Still chained up because you just didn't want to find your willpower. Didn't want to find your soul, your will, your heart, your determination, your guts, your courage. And what that looks like, it looks scary. Scary to wake up every day and say, I'm stupid, but I want to figure out a way to be smarter. Versus saying, man, I just can't do that. So you limit this box. So your box becomes so small of things you can do. And then through examining myself, getting some willpower, some courage, it became bigger than this table. How bad do you want this? If it's as bad as you want to live or breathe or sleep, whatever the hell it may be, I can work with you. Most people don't want it that badly, which is why they always ask the question, man, how did you get to where you are? You know how to do it. You know exactly how to be you or how to be me. You don't want to do it. So I can't make you do it, and nor do I have the time or energy to force you into that place that I know you have to be to do it. There's no luck in this game, man. It may be a little bit of luck, but the luck happens after you bust your ass and you put yourself in that lucky situation. Luck doesn't happen. You put yourself in that situation where luck might happen. And that's what people don't know. But to get there, luck ain't gonna happen. You have to put yourself in that situation, man. It takes a lot of work.
But where do you go to? You wake up on a morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, you've got no cartilage in your knee, you've got shitty shorts, whatever it is that's the issue today.
Keep talking. I need you to keep talking about what you were just saying.
It's warm on the couch. Your missus says stay in bed. It's comfy, it's cozy. You've got work later on. You had an argument last night. You're slightly hungover.
Because I know everybody ain't going to do what I'm going to do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. No one's going to come to help me. No one's going to come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. And so I had to man up. And I said, the first thing I got to start doing is facing every fucking fear I have. No matter what the fuck it is, man. And these things would keep me up. And no one, people who are, that's where I get better.
So it's important to stay hungry.
It's important to stay hungry, but it's important more to stay humble within that hunger. So while you're hungry, a lot of people are hungry, but humility is everything.
What was that story about William Crawford, the janitor?
Yeah. So this guy won the Medal of Honor. So he won the Medal of Honor, and which is the highest award in the military. And this guy went to the Air Force Academy, and he was a janitor. And no one knew who the this man was. He had the highest award in all the military for heroics. For heroics, saving lives, putting his life on the line. You know, could have been killed. And he is now basically, you know, cleaning shitters for young kids. And we can all imagine how that probably went. You know, there's probably some, you know, little bit of taunting here and there. And he just sat there and cleaned the shitter. So that's why he's in my trained humility part, because for this man to be at the level he was and have that kind of humility to go, I'm a Medal of Honor winner, but I'm gonna put that in my closet, and I'm gonna pick up my broom and dustpan, and I'm gonna pick up, you know, this rag and clean this for these young men. That right there is amazing for me, man. That's where you grow. That's growth, huge growth. And also it shows that he was doing his job. He was a servant. He didn't look at himself any better than anybody else. The second you do that, you totally lost. You cannot look at yourself like people with me even. I always look at people. I know where you are. I know where, because I've been there. That's why I help so many people out. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So I know how to reach those people who are in the dungeon, because I've been there so many times. You have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that.
Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated.
Jocko said the exact same thing. He said that discipline eats motivation for breakfast.
And discipline is good too. But without a clear headspace, there's no discipline.
What do you mean?
So let's say we have a circuit breaker, okay? And I'm loading everything up to one fucking circuit. Just load it up. It's gonna fucking blow. And once that thing blows, man, the circuit's all fucked up. You gotta have each thing plugged into the right spot, like a fucking crowded garage. You can't put anything in it. Once your brain is crowded, discipline is great. Motivation is great. But if you can't fit shit in your brain because it's all fucking cluttered with shit, there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits in that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have with that discipline. I call it mental zones. Is you're organizing your mind so you can put that discipline. So a lot of people talk about discipline. Okay, great. Why do you fall off the wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine? Going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods. It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuffed in your fucking brain. You don't have it compartmentalized and organized in these nice shelves. A lot of people whose brain, hey, where's my dumbbells? Let me look. They're fucking throwing shit, they're looking through totes, they're all fucked up. So where am I gonna put discipline in that mind if I can't find other shit? You gotta be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate 2 hours every single night, because I refresh, I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. So then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in this right spot. I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor. So when I come out in the world, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late. I'm not rushing around. I'm not disorganized. So when I wake up, I'm ready to go.
Why is the truth so important?
You have to have the truth to have a starting point. And your true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. We all look for toughness. We all want it. But we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, you will not find it. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts, where you can't swim and you're drowning. Where you're drowning. Where you say, you know what, ma'am? Dad. Once you come face to face with who you are, you have a starting point. It's in our head saying, you know what, man? Dude, you're not doing shit. You're wasting a bunch of percentage here. In this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. But to get to this light, you gotta go through all of this shit.
If you're not succeeding, you're not achieving, it's because you're afraid to go in that dark place to find yourself. You're setting goals you know you can reach. And when you do that, that fear, that insecurity, that doubt, that's where you grow. You must always set goals that you think you cannot achieve. And then there you get better.
When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, the amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. Every day, you must ask yourself, did I do enough?
And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to. So if you really want it, you realize what trying is and what trying is not. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that shit we have nowadays, your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life shit. You can't Google that shit, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain, and your brain is talking to you in all kind of ways, and it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you're fucked. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. It's over. All I knew back then was hard work. You gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. I can't get this paragraph. I can't remember what the fuck's in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read again. Still not getting it. Read again. But if not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. I realized if I keep going back and going back and going back until the shit just becomes, your mind will say, fuck, okay. We're going to figure it out.
It'll find a way.
Because he is not going to stop. It's not like, I'm going to try one more time. No. Alarm clock goes off, boop. We're going back. I can't read right. We're going back. I gave myself no way out, and my mind realized that. They said, okay, we're going to adapt and overcome now. That was my mindset. And that's how you get through things. You put yourself, you immerse yourself wherever it is, and you become that. I became hell. And that became my new norm. I gave myself no way out. There was nothing outside these walls.
Hearing this shit, they will never really understand and grasp when you face these things and so many things, how they keep you up and haunt you at night.
I think there's a lot of people out there that know what you're talking about.
I mean, and so that's what it did. And I had two options: to either be that 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches and made $1,000 a month, and at 24 years old, knowing when I'm 50 fucking years old, I can reflect on this and think about what guy I never became, or I can totally just sack it up and fail and fail and fail until I succeed. So I started calling recruiters up. I said, I'm gonna go be a fucking Navy SEAL. And every recruiter, so there's a weight and height, so the weight and height limit to get in the military. And I was 6'1" and 297. And I had prior service, which was a big deal. So I called all these recruiters up, and all of them said, hey, how tall are you, blah, 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 blah. They got into conversation to see if I was even qualified. And by the time I got to my weight, phone would hang up pretty much like, hey, you know what, call somebody else, try to get in the reserves. So I tried to get in the reserves. And I called this guy named Steven Salgio, recruiter, up. And he said, hey, come on in. He saw me, put me through the weight standard, all this other stuff. And to get into the class I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. So I was like, Dad, I can't do that. I grabbed my